Wow, so I think people come to our events for a lot of different reasons. Some people come because they're faced with a health challenge. They've heard about somebody with a similar health challenge, or have read about somebody with a similar health challenge that went about making significant changes in how they think, how they act, and how they feel. And over a period of time, the disease went away, and without any exogenous substance. Other people come because they want to create a new life, a new job, a new career, a new opportunity. Some people come because they're chasing the mystical and they want to have those profound mystical experiences. And I think everybody comes for their own reasons. But what we're learning now is that in these 7-day events, and I'll talk about why we do those 7-day events in a minute, but there comes a point where people start experiencing a greater level of wholeness. And when you start seeing that kind of coherence that goes on in the brain and coherence that goes on in the heart, and we measure this, when you feel so whole and so complete that you're happy with yourself, and you probably will want less. And you're less reliant on anything outside of you to bring you joy. And I think that kind of is who we are innately. So people come for all kinds of reasons, and they think it's because they want wealth, or they want health, or they want a new relationship. But it's who they become in the process, because that's what you take with you. And so we were doing these 4.5-day advanced events, and what I noticed is right around the last day or so, people were having significant transformations. And I started realizing, God, if we had just 3 more days with them, what could we accomplish? So we started doing these 7-day events, and the events are an opportunity for people to retreat from their lives, to remove the constant stimulation in their external environment that reminds them of who they think they are as a personality. You know, to separate themselves from the people they know and the places they go and the things that they do at the exact same time every day in that routine program. Long enough for me to remind them of what they already know, that they are the creator of their life. And so if you can combine a little neuroscience with a little quantum physics, with a little neuroendocrinology, with a little psychoneuroimmunology, a little bit of epigenetics, all of those new sciences really point the finger to what's possible. So people that come to the week-longs are people that are experienced in doing this work. We want them to be practicing at home because I'm going to stretch them outside of their comfort zone. And the first day is always the big day, because when you come, people have to get beyond themselves. And after looking at 8,500 brain scans, I now know without a doubt that you and I are at our absolute best when we get beyond ourselves. And there's a formula in helping people to do that. Now, when you forget about yourself, you're moving into a very creative process. You're not thinking about what you look like, you're not thinking about what you eat, you're not thinking about your past or all your problems or your pain. You're not thinking about your name. In fact, you dissociate from everything that's known for you, and that's the creative process, stepping into the unknown. So the first day, I challenge people to get beyond themselves, and so they'll learn, I'll remind them of some of the basics, and then we're going into a meditative process for different parts of the day, and they're working on taking their attention off their body, off the people in their life. Now think about this. The stronger the emotion that you feel to some problem or some condition in your life or some person in your life, the more you pay attention to that person or problem. And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, in fact, you're giving your power away to a lot of the problems in your life because that's where your attention is. If you're in a routine of waking up every morning and running through the same behaviors that you did the day before, if you wake up in the morning and you have to think about your problems to feel the emotions that are connected to those memories of those problems are old circuits in your brain, and every problem has an emotion associated with it. If thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel is your state of being, most people's entire state of being is in the past. So then once they're living in the familiar past, we can know by fact that they're going to be in a predictable future. So then how do you get a person then to lower the volume to those emotions so that they can begin to take their attention off the problems in their life, and it's their attention and anticipation of how they expect it to show up that keeps their observation from a quantum model, the reality being the same. And the best way to say it is that it's not your personality that's creating your personal reality, it's your personal reality that's creating your personality. You're at effect of your environment, and your environment is actually controlling your thoughts and feelings. So if you said to me, well, I'm angry today because of this person, I'm upset because of this problem, then what you're really saying, just from an objective standpoint, that person or that problem is actually controlling how I think and feel. Which means if I'm reacting to the conditions in my environment, then for the most part I'm a victim to my environment. But turning the battleship around, turning that model around, because how you think and how you feel should begin to produce an effect in your life if you were able to change it. So then people have to lay down the very thing that they've been using their entire life in the same way to get what they want for something greater to happen. So the first day is about overcoming ourselves. It's taking your attention off your environment, forgetting about your body and the emotions and pain and disease and whatever else, and get beyond that program of a predictable future and a familiar past, and get beyond the concept of linear time and fall into the present moment. And that formula then has a biological effect in the brain and body that we can actually anticipate, expect, predict when we see a person starting to overcome themselves. And after looking at enough brain scans, I saw then that people were able to get beyond themselves to move into that creative state. Think about it. Have you ever sat at your computer writing an article or reviewing something or studying, and you look up and it's 2.5 hours later and you have no idea where time went? You lost track of the space you were in and the predictable time of the next moment. And when you lose track of space and time, if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and you have no attention in this three-dimensional reality, then all of your attention is in a realm of thought, and we would call that the quantum. So now, you can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. You have to enter as a nobody. So when you begin to get beyond yourself, what is your environment made of? People, objects, things, places, well, your body in space and time. So when you take your attention off all of those elements, you're disinvesting your attention and energy out of this three-dimensional reality, and you're placing your attention and energy in that field of possibilities. Now, what's the relevance of that? Well, think about it. Most people are their bodies trying to heal their bodies. Most people are their personality trying to change some aspect of their personality. They're trying to create some new future event, but they're wrapped up in the routine and program of how they live their life in the same ways.
Sounds ridiculous when you put it that way.
But the truth is that we're all stuck in these programs, and they've lost their free will to a program because they run the same routine every single day. So
without knowing it.
Without knowing it. So then you need a crisis or a disease or a loss or a betrayal or a shock or something till you finally wake up, right? So our community of people, when they understand that they have to get beyond themselves, because when they do, now they're ready to create. They're not thinking about what they look like. They're not thinking about what anybody else thinks about them. They're not thinking about how long it's going to take. They start getting beyond those elements that keep them restrained and attached to their past, present reality. So if you come to an event, the first day is about overcoming yourself. That first day, you start seeing people starting to break through. Once some people start to break through, it becomes very contagious. We do 4 types of meditation. We do a seated meditation, and our students can sit for extended periods of time because they forget that they have a body. And they're good at it. And we do standing and walking meditations. A picture 1,000 people on a beach, a beautiful beach, and everybody is starting off raising their energy and opening their heart. And then they begin to embody who they want to become. They start to walk as that person, breathe as that person. They start to take it on, and they start embodying that energy. And they start changing the subtle programs of when you're unhappy or when you're beaten down by your environment, you have a certain posture, certain unconscious mannerisms. So we're retraining them so that when they get back into their life, they're going to walk as their future self. They're not going to walk as their old self, they're becoming it. And that becomes the new habit. And then we do a laying down meditation, and that's important because in those laying down meditations, we are after the mystical. So we want to catch them in that realm between half awake and half asleep, where that door, the portal of dreams opens up, where you have a lucid experience. And again, we now have demystified that process, and we can induce that state. So in a week-long event...
What's the fourth?
Oh, the fourth is a lying down meditation. So standing, sitting, walking, and laying down. Okay. And it's pretty fun because you see 1,000 people on the beach or in a park, and you're a person staying at the hotel, or you're just somebody who rides your bike in the park, and all of a sudden you see people just connecting, and everybody stays and watches. It's so beautiful. Sun rises. We start at 6 in the morning, and it's just sentient beings, really connecting. And so people make movies. We do these mind movies, and we teach them how to, instead of watching some ridiculous late-night fright commercial about your immune system getting weaker, or you need a flu shot, or you need to drink a certain beer, drive a certain car, to look a certain way, or to be loved or liked. And that's all programming, where you're relying on something outside of you to bring you some emotion or feeling. That we teach them how to become the stars of their own movies. And we induce a trance with their eyes open, and they understand the science behind trance. And when you're in trance, you're less likely to analyze. And what separates your conscious mind from your subconscious mind is your analytical mind. So as they move into trance, they slow their brain waves down, they stop analyzing, they increase their level of suggestibility. And suggestibility is your ability to accept, believe, and surrender to information without analyzing it. So go back to a late-night fright commercial where you're just sitting, staring at the TV. It's called programming for a reason. Your brain's in trance. You're in alpha or high-level theta. You're not analyzing. You're just sitting there, and all that information is going right into your subconscious, and it's recording it. So then when you start experiencing any of those symptoms, or you start feeling some lack or emptiness, your brain is naturally going to create the picture of what you associate as a reason or a way to get out of that emotion.
Is media one of the most dangerous things we put in our brain?
Oh my God. I mean, if you're watching television, don't watch anything that you don't want to experience, because you're programming yourself for a specific outcome. And it turns out that many of the commercials are actually programming you for the very thing they have the solution for, if you look at it from an objective standpoint. So I thought, why not get a group of people to go into trance and understand the science behind it? And then instead of looking at some frivolous commercial, why not be the star of their own future? And when they play a strong song, like a powerful song that motivates them, and they're watching scenes of them and their future, just like when you were, watching, driving down the car and hearing a song on the radio, and it reminds you of a time in your life, an associative memory. You're associating that song with some memories. From a biological standpoint, remembering your future is actually no different than remembering your past, and you can program your subconscious into that future. And so that helps people then to get clear on the future that they want to embrace, and it puts them in that right energetic or emotional state. So we use a lot of the mind movie technology. We teach them how to specifically create something out of nothing. We teach them how to connect to that unified field and to create from the field instead of from matter. And turns out the brain and the heart gets highly organized when we do this. And we've been doing this new thing in our week-long events, which has been really profound, and we've been teaching coherence healing. And we have witnessed some of the most incredible miracles, Brian, that I thought I would never see in my lifetime. Everything from cancer, tumors disappearing right during the event, people that have hearing difficulties hearing again, people with Parkinson's disease freed, people with crutches walking without crutches, people stepping out of wheelchairs, blind people seeing. I mean, we've seen, and I have to tell you, I was more surprised than anybody in witnessing this.